Have you ever had the experience of maybe what I'm going through right this second, where I was supposed to have a podcast guest on, and I show up and I'm waiting. It's now 20 minutes. And what do I do? What do I do? I'm going to do what my daughter's former principal taught all of the C's kids. Any C's moms watching, give me a heart in comments. And her motto was, "C's kids do not panic, they make a new plan." And that's what you see me doing, actually in real time. Stay tuned. Hello, I'm Lisa Czak. Welcome to Worthy Woman Healing Podcast. I also have a Worthy Woman Healing group that I do that meets twice a month. If you're interested in that, go ahead and click the link below and sign up for my free morning meditation, which will also give you information on the healing group. And we meet together for a year. And after a year, we all go on a retreat to the Dominican Republic. That's right. So click the link below for that. And on today's episode, we're talking about don't panic, make a new plan. And this is me actually in real time. I was supposed to have a podcast guest on today, an interview, and I rushed home. I got my hair done. Planned my whole day around having this podcast interview today, right? And I rushed to get in here and I'm waiting and waiting, and 20 minutes go by. She's still not here. Now, I don't know what happened. I contacted her. I let her know. Who knows, right? I hope she's okay. Let's pray that everything is all right. And that's a change for me, right? First of all, praying for somebody who doesn't show up or someone that maybe caused my day to go a little astray, right? Because how many of you have had that experience maybe where you plan your whole day around something and then the person doesn't show up or something happens, right? And you're not able to do what you planned. How many of you panic in that moment or waste your time and energy getting all angry and all worked up? And maybe you're, sending scathing emails to that person or, you know, wishing them whatever. Okay. How's that working for you? How's that working for you when you have a plan with someone and it doesn't pan out? And then you panic or you react, you emotionally react. So the first thing that I did, instead of getting all riled up, like I contacted the person, "Hey, where are you? I'm in Zoom waiting for you," right? And then I let it go because this is time that's precious, right? Money comes and goes, time just goes. So, okay, what can I do with this scheduled time that I had? All right, I'll do a solo podcast, which actually, to be quite honest, I prefer. When I do interviews, they exhaust me, they drain me. And so I'm a big believer in rejection is protection. So maybe God knew, like, he's like, "Girl, you have a headache, a pounding headache today, and you're on a time crunch. You got to be done by 6 p.m. And if you have this guest on, your head is going to be hurting more. You're going to feel drained." And I don't like to interrupt when guests are on. Most of the guests that I have on, they're talking about their own personal stories. And so I don't like to rush that process, right? Which is part of the reason why it's exhausting for me because I don't like to rush them. And if I'm on a time crunch, it's not a good thing. So I'm going to talk to you instead about what that former principal told us. C's kids do not panic, they make a new plan. And a lot of times, that new plan is actually what God intended for you in the first place. That was God's will. I can't tell you how many times I have learned, though, that I have made plans without consulting God first. And I'm like, "Hey, what's going on? I had my heart set on this and this isn't working out the way I wanted it to." Right? Like this interview, I was really excited to interview this woman today. And God is like, "Did you consult me first? Did you ask me first?" I don't know if I did. In this case, I honestly don't know. There's a lot of times where I say, "Oh, wait a minute," because I tend to be the kind of person that's like, "I wanna do this. Let's jump. Let's do it." And I figure it out afterwards, or I ask God afterwards. I say, "Hey, why isn't this working? But this is what I really wanted." And so you have to start asking when you're asking God for things, you're asking Him in the context of, is this your will, right? Your will be done. Because we do have free will, which actually I wanted to bring up for just a second because I did a podcast episode on honor your father and mother regarding the estrangement epidemic that's happening. And someone commented on there, I don't have the comment in front of me. Someone commented, "We have free will, so why do we need commandments?" And I told my husband that, and he said, "Yes, you have the choice to follow. You do have free will, meaning you have the choice to follow God's commandments. And if you don't follow his commandments, there's consequences for that." And I don't know what that has to do with coming up with a new plan. I don't even know how I got on the subject. I just thought that was important to remember that it's God's will. So that's what that person was saying. That's how I got on the subject. See, I'm back. I went on a rabbit trail. Now I'm back. Has your adult daughter cut you off, gone no contact, part of this estrangement epidemic, a world you didn't even know of until it happened to you, something you never imagined in a million years would happen to you because you and your daughter were close, you were inseparable, until suddenly one day she just walked away from you and you haven't heard from her in months or years, and you're heartbroken and you're confused and you have guilt and you have shame. Maybe you haven't even told anybody because you're too embarrassed. If this sounds like you, Mama, and you are desperate for some peace, I know you're desperate to reconcile with your daughter. And this will never happen until you get to a place of peace and neutrality about what she did, what happened, and what has gone on since then. I have a new group. It is called From Pain to Peace, Healing for Moms Estranged from Their Daughters. And in this group, you are going to become crystal clear on how to live your life, even if your daughter never comes back to you. I know you don't want to hear that right now. You are also going to uncover ways that you might actually be sabotaging reconciliation. And lastly, you're going to leave this session with peace and clarity on next steps to take in your life, regardless of your child's choices, regardless of what happens with them. Because I know you want more than anything to reconcile. What you want more than anything, though, before that can happen, is peace in your heart, in the waiting. Click the link below. This is a one-time session, and maybe we'll continue on with it. We'll see. But for now, I'm only offering it one time, and there's limited spots available. I'm only opening this up to 15 women, 15 mamas. So hurry up and click the link below, and we will see you and get you from pain to peace during this estrangement period. You are worth it. Yes, it's God's will. You have choices that you can decide every day. Every second of every day you have choices because God has given us free will. And it is your choice to say, "God, is this your will for me? Is this something that is good for me or not good for me?" Right? What is your plan? And when your life goes astray and the plans that you made, God's laughing at. He's like, okay, you think you're in charge, you think you know what you're doing. However, who's the one that's really in control? And who is the ultimate decider of the plan? Once you can start trusting God's plan for you, and I get this question a lot, how do I know what God's plan is for me? How do I know what God's will is for me? Well, when it's God's will, it just all kind of comes together. I've noticed that in my life. Most of the job until recently, most of all the jobs I've ever had, I didn't fill out a resume, I didn't do an application, I didn't need references. I simply planted wherever I bloomed wherever I was planted, like my personal training. When I became a personal trainer, I just happened to be in the gym where I lost 80 pounds. And then I was offered a job as a trainer and then as a fitness director, then running a whole program, opening up a brand new gym. And that was easy. When it's God, it's easy and effortless. Not effortless meaning you're not going to put in some work, but a lot of times the work that you're putting in happened way before you were offered the job, just like me. I didn't become a fitness director overnight. I set the stage a long time before that. I think it was 2 years, I think it took me to lose 80 pounds. And so within those 2 years that I didn't even know people were watching me, not in a creepy, stalky way, but people were watching me bloom where I was planted. And so really it was a 2 year process of me finally being offered, hey, you want to become a personal trainer? Hey, you want to be a fitness director? Hey, you want to open up a new gym? So when it's God's will, doors just seem to open. The right people come into your life, come into your path. The right doors close also. You have to trust not only the doors that God opens, but the doors that God shuts also. And it just kind of happens. Now, when it's not God's will, have you ever noticed this? Today was an example of this for me. I was offered to do an assignment somewhere. And I was like, "Ooh, okay, I could do that. If I cancel this and cancel my reschedule my hair appointment, um, reschedule the podcast interview that I was supposed to do right now. Okay, if I do all of that, then I can do this assignment." And I heard God going, "What?" And my husband checked me also. Like, if you have to juggle all of it and rearrange it and inconvenience other people, right? If I had taken this other assignment, I would have been inconveniencing the myself in the meeting that I was supposed to be doing. I would have been inconveniencing the lady who does my hair, right? Because she would have had to reschedule. I would have been inconveniencing the podcast guest that I was supposed to have on tonight. So if you're feeling like you have to, like you're doing gymnastics and stretching, and if I do this and then this and then this happens, then I can do it. That is most likely not God's will or God's plan for you. So, my whole point of this whole thing is when plans change, don't panic, make a new plan. And make sure it's God's plan. Make sure it's God's will. And how do you know if it's God's will? It just kind of falls miraculously in place. Like it just kind of fell from the sky. Like you don't even know how it all happened. And when it's not God's will, you're all over the place. You're scrambling, stretching and doing all kinds of mental gymnastics and rescheduling everything this to make it fit, right? If you're having to make it fit, it's not God's will. So I also have, what else did I say? I said the healing group, the meditation. And the woman that I was going to have on today happens to be an author of Estranged Moms. She has a book out. And I've been speaking out a lot about estranged moms and the pain of it. And if you're interested in taking your pain and turning it into purpose, or just taking your pain and turning it into peace, I have a group for that also. Look for that in show notes. And remember, you are worth it.